This is Prime Crime Network. Welcome to the Filthy Badge series,
Police officers take an oath to protect and serve,
where we go precinct to precinct finding the dirtiest cops.
Deli joined the force in 2015, but tonight he's in jail charged with rape.
Some officers across the country are misusing that authority.
And now, the accused.
One of the community members or witnesses actually came forward and gave us the key piece that we needed to close this case.
Lying and manipulating a witness are serious violations of the public trust and a threat to the integrity of the judicial system. Detective Tran will be held accountable.
Officer Officer Tran, pictured here in this 2013 photo from the Oakland Police Department's Facebook page, has been an investigator with the department for more than a decade. The Alameda County District Attorney's Office formally charged him with perjury, threatening a witness, and bribing a witness. It all goes back to a murder investigation in Oakland more than a decade ago. Charles Butler Jr. was shot and killed near his North Oakland home in 2011. It was unsolved for 2 years, and then a woman came forward to say she saw two men commit the crime. But according to the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, that witness was lying. She later recanted her story and said she never saw the murder happen, but that she'd felt pressured by Tran to lie about it on the stand. Tran is also accused of lying in court himself. During the murder trial, he testified he didn't know the witness before the investigation. The woman said that wasn't true. She'd been working with him as a neighborhood informant for years. Last year, the two men who were convicted of Butler's killing, who were serving life sentences in prison, walked free because a judge determined their convictions were based on lies.
I can't understand how my mom feels. I never know, the pain that she is experiencing. And to know that they're just walking free and just living their life, it makes me angry because they shouldn't be able to do that.
Charles Butler's sister told me she and her mom were brought to the Alameda County District Attorney's Office last year and told that the two men convicted of killing Charles were going to be released from prison. She says there is blame to go around.
The Oakland Police Department, the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, and I'm just thankful for the little bit of justice that was served. I'm just hurting now because for my mom, she has to relive this all over again.
An attorney representing Tran said in a statement, quote, he is being prosecuted for having the audacity to investigate, arrest, and bring to justice the killers who terrorize Oakland. These charges are baseless and should gravely concern every Alameda County resident that desires a truly equitable criminal justice system.
And just within the past hour, the Alameda County District Attorney's Office says that because of the charges against Tran, it will now review another 125 other criminal cases he was involved in. Legal experts say it is possible some of those cases could be dismissed and other convictions overturned.
Prime Crime Network.
It was exclusive. Charles Butler was shot and killed near his North Oakland home a decade ago. A woman testified she saw two men commit that crime. Those men were convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Now, the woman received thousands of dollars in funds from a witness support program, and according to court documents, money from Tran himself to help with some of her personal expenses. But the witness later recanted her story. She admitted she never saw the murder happen and said she'd been pressured by Tran to lie. Tran is also accused of lying in court during this case. During the murder trial, he testified he didn't know the witness before the investigation. The woman said that was not true. She'd actually been working with Tran as an informal neighborhood informant for years. Last month, the two men who were convicted in Butler's killing, who were serving life sentences in prison, went free because a judge determined their convictions were based on lies. The Alameda County District Attorney's Office hasn't said whether other cases Tran investigated could be thrown out as well. As of this year, Tran had been continuing to work as an Oakland police investigator. He was not placed on administrative leave this year. The arrest warrant for Tran says he is not eligible for bail and has until tomorrow to turn himself in.
It all has to do with Tran's investigation of the 2011 shooting death of Charles Butler in North Oakland, who was killed after he bumped into a car while parking outside a market. The case went unsolved until 2013 when KTVU aired a report featuring Tran and the victim's terminally ill father pleading for tips. And just a week after that broadcast, a woman came forward saying she saw two men commit the crime. The DA says that's not true and that the woman received thousands of dollars from a witness support program and Tran himself.
The confidential informant later stated that she did not actually witness the murder. Detective Tran lied about his connection to the witness and the payments to her under oath.
The two men she ID'd in Butler's killing were convicted and sentenced to life. They spent 10 years behind bars before being released.
I felt that Tran was a predator in a way. He preyed on my father and my mother's sadness.
Ann Butler is the victim's sister.
To find out that this was going on behind the scenes, it's hurtful, and I felt that they have been taken advantage of.
In a statement, Tran's attorney said in part he is being prosecuted for having the audacity to investigate, arrest, and bring to justice the killers who terrorize Oakland. These charges are baseless and should gravely concern every Alameda County resident that desires a truly equitable criminal justice system. DA Price says her office, together with the Northern California Innocence Project, will need to review at least 125 cases that Officer Tran investigated while working homicides. Now, reached out to Price's office and requested an interview, but was told she would not take further questions, and her video, like others before it, will be her only statements in this case. Now, Mike, we saw you in that piece. You actually spoke to the victim's father back in 2013.
Yeah, you bet. I interviewed his father, who was dying at the time, as you reported, and this was nearly 2 years after their son was killed in 2011. The reward at the time of that interview had gone up to $25,000, I remember. The dad wanted justice. I remember it was OPD Henry that had come to me. This isn't a story that I've been following. They actually gave me a phone call, pitched the story. Dad wanted to talk. Officer Phong Tran, Henry, I remember, offering himself up for this interview, hoping that the story would all bring forward a witness and eventually lead to an arrest. And sure enough, an arrest was made, a week or two after. I'm curious, though, Henry, did the DA tell you why the woman, the so-called witness, is coming forward after all of these years?
Yeah, for years. Apparently, Mike, she became remorseful about her testimony. She grew a conscience, came forward to help the defense, and that led the DA's office under the previous administration to dismiss those murder convictions.
And does Tran have to turn himself in, like, tomorrow or the next day? Or does he have
by tomorrow, but so far we don't see any evidence that he's turned himself in.
Saddened and appalled, honestly. As the chief of police for Elmendorf Police Department, I'm really appalled. Went ahead and brought Mr. Gonzalez in and spoke to him in the conference room, and I advised him what the allegation was, and then soon thereafter he went ahead and resigned. So he was no longer with the police department, with Elmendorf Police Department or commission. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't know what individuals are, what's in their minds and their hearts at that time. We, as chiefs of police, other agencies, when we do this thorough background, we just don't know after the fact what happens to individuals.
Jesus Gonzalez was a reserve police officer with the Elmendorf Police Department for just 2 months before he resigned on Tuesday. This after allegations surfaced that Gonzalez had an ongoing relationship with a 13-year-old girl. According to an affidavit, the mother of the 13-year-old victim had been going through photos on her cell phone when she found some of her daughter in provocative poses. When she confronted her daughter, the teen told her Gonzalez had asked for the photos and that the two had been having a sexual relationship since September.
Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell. And check us out on PrimeCrimeNetwork.com.